All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Sputnik interview. My name is Tyler. Today, I am joined by the vocalist of Larcenia Roe. Wow, I always mess that up. Larcenia Roe, Ryan Vale. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. It's very common for people to mess it up. So that's everyone always asks, "Hey, how's it pronounced?" And I always say, "Hey, however you want it to be pronounced, that's how it'll be pronounced." So
Yeah, I've had issues. I like in my head, I like rehearse. I'm like Larcenia, and then every time that I just want to talk about, I'm like Laurencia Rowe, and I'm like, where did Laurencia come from? But anyway, man, thanks for being here. Very happy to have you on here. Just kind of talking about obviously your new album, Extraction, came out on Friday, and just kind of digging into that, looking at the history of the band. And so, just to get started, for people who may not know who you guys are, can you tell me a little bit about the band, when you guys started, and kind of like I don't know, just who you guys are in general.
yeah, so we're a five-piece deathcore band from Raleigh, North Carolina. None of us are actually natives of Raleigh, but this is where we all met. We're all from different places, and somehow we all came together here in Raleigh. Band started with Henry Coster and myself.
Mhm.
Um, we decided to kind of put together almost like a marketing experiment of like, hey, if we put together like some ridiculous music and just randomly put it out there, do you think anyone will respond? And basically, the tail of the take is people responded, and we were forced to formulate a full band, and that's where we met Morgan, Mike, and Rob, and they're our touring crew. But yeah, we're just kind of a band based on straight, just standard heavy stuff, very weird, off-putting stuff,
Oh,
um, experimental stuff, and everything in between. So we're a band without rules, and that was kind of the main goal of starting the band. Is hey, let's not have all these rules that our past bands may have had or these boxes. Let's put our brains out there, and now we're here.
yeah, no, that's awesome. And so going back, obviously, to 2023 with Dereliction, your first EP, getting that out there, and obviously a little under a year ago, getting that remastered under your new record label and stuff like that. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that. Putting that EP out there, like you said, it was more of like a marketing sort of idea of just seeing what would happen, seeing how people respond. And, pretty good reception from what I've seen from that EP and stuff like that, and getting a lot of attention, especially going into this new album. And so, what was that like for you guys to be able to see that very positive reaction to something that was more of like an experiment than an actual like intentional band in a way?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously great, right? Because every band wants to get attention, right? It's
Oh yeah.
it's tough to really make some noise in a sea of loud things. And there are a lot of really good bands, a lot of loud bands, too many bands. You have the surge of TikTok bands, you had the surge of all these reaction channels, and
Oh yeah.
we weren't really a TikTok band at all. Even though I wish we were, because I've seen some of the numbers those guys have pushed. But reaction channels really grabbed hold of kind of our jarring music, right? The jump scare stuff, and um, a lot of the way we write music kind of is purposely placed for maybe those things, or maybe just to get somebody to feel a certain way, or weird somebody out, so when we saw that people were reacting to the music, that was the goal, right? But to see it kind of take off in its little way that it has, and kind of put us out there to be able to, get signed and tour and that type of thing. I mean, it was amazing. It happened relatively quick. So we've been grinding in bands for a long time before this. So it was really cool to see all of our experience come together, put it all out there in a way that we felt comfortable, that we felt like it was us, And when you have that happen, it's pretty cool. Whether you're doing music or press work or whatever it may be, whenever you can have your name on it and people are like, "Yeah, that's sick." I mean, you can't beat that type of thing in life. So it's been awesome.
I can imagine that's really cool, and just kind of seeing y'all's growth, since that release, and kind of seeing obviously, like you said, the reaction channels grasping onto it and stuff like that, and playing into that marketing side of it of being like, hey, we don't have any rules, let's just go for it, let's have some fun with this. And I love that approach. And so, obviously, looking at dereliction as like a foundation for who you guys are, as we kind of approach, as you guys approached writing Extraction and kind of getting more involved with that and getting even deeper into the songwriting and stuff like that, how do you think that you guys have like improved and refined your songwriting and found your style from Dereliction up to Extraction?
Yeah, I mean that's there really was. I mean, at the end of the day, there's our base layer of like what dereliction was the birthing stage of Larcenia, and I still think we're kind of in a birthing stage because we're still kind of building that identity out, mainly with our relationship with the fans and everything. But one thing that I would say is quality of the music. We wanted to kind of increase quality a little bit. We did self-produce the new album fully. I learned how to mix and master real quick, and I love doing it. But we really want to kind of hone in on specific sounds and the way that things hit people's ear. But kind of approaching it is, if we keep jump scaring people, people are going to expect it. So we kind of want to change the route a little bit. We want to toss in some other influences in there. If you listen to the new album, there's songs like "Carrie Ain't No Raleigh." There's "Lullaby," where they're generally almost pop or rap songs with slam and deathcore elements. There's songs in there that don't really have any like just straight up like jump at you breakdowns. Songs like Carolina Crowd Killer are actually just pretty straightforward. Like we tell you when there's going to be a beat down part or a two-step part. And sometimes that's what bands just need to do, being able to guide listeners a little bit more rather than trying to scare them. So we wanted to do that while still having our little fun trick in there, with some of the endings of the songs, Couch and Closet, stuff like that. So we wanted to balance it. We wanted to make sure that we were pleasing our OG listeners that kind of helped us build. It's crazy that we say OG already when it's only been like not even 2 years or whatever. So being able to kind of hone in on what worked, how can we open it up to more listeners, refine it, make it sound crispier, and hopefully people dig it, and hopefully people hate it as well, because that means that you really did good. That's the goal. That's
Oh,
the
yeah, no, find that nice little balance between love and hate, always a great thing with music. And so, one thing I did want to talk about is obviously, I think what you guys built upon was, that kind of unsettling feeling of not knowing what's happening next, which is a really fun approach. Deathcore, like deathcore is always fun. There's always fun riffs, fun breakdowns and stuff. But adding that element of not knowing what's next and having those start-stop structures is what makes it super interesting. And I just wanted to talk more about that. Obviously, people watch your music videos and stuff. There is a significant horror-esque sort of influence in that. And that does shine through with the songwriting, even if it is just music. I mean, there's a lot of unsettling features about music just in general. And so I would love to hear from you guys, especially as you guys approach Extraction. And if you take one look at that album cover, it's unsettling to say the least. So just kind of looking at that, how has like that idea of horror influenced you guys, and how does it tie into you guys musically, lyrically, obviously visually is a big part as well. So kind of all those different influences, how do those work together?
Yeah, I think when you approach kind of any type of art, whether it's visually or in like a soundscape type presentation, I think what you're looking at is like how can you create dynamic, and within that dynamic, how can you really kind of milk certain things to make the other things more powerful. And I think that's something that's really built Larcenia's sound. Other than us, saying weird things in our songs or telling you that we love good listeners. It's like we like to say uncomfortable things because that's easy. But when you can take music and notes and rhythms and cadences, and those are the things that make you unsettled, you have a lot of control. So when you're delivering an experience to anyone that's listening or watching your music video, traditionally we don't put out that visually pleasing of music videos. We want it to feel like, hey, some psychopath may have made this. Um, Everything we do is mapped out, is thought out, but they happen within accidents as well. So I'm not going to say that like everything that's worked was an idea, but I'm definitely going to claim it was an
Totally.
idea. But all joking aside, we do our best to try to like plan things out. Like, oh, this would be a really cool idea. But no, to me, I've said this a few times. The heaviest thing in all music is nothing, because when you have a bunch of sounds, you're already maxed out. But if you have nothing, but you can have anticipation, that's what's going to scare the crap out of you. So for us, that's why there's so many stop starts. That's why there's so many kind of build ups. Timings are off. We don't record on a grid at all, or I don't. Henry does. He does most of that stuff, but I chop up all of our music like a DJ would, and I don't use grids for that reason, because something's on a grid like every song ever now, then you're gonna know when the drop's gonna happen. I don't want anyone to know. So I mean, songs like Calcium Closet, for instance, the very ending, you have no idea something's coming, and then it comes. So I hope that answered. I can go on tangents about all of our approaches and stuff. So
No, I love it. And it definitely ties into that idea. I mean, that's the one thing that kind of drew me in with the sound to begin with is, those start stop structures. I mean, start stop is a technique that's used, relatively in other music and stuff like that. But what I love about what you guys do is you stop something and then you start something entirely different. So it's not just like a break in the song. It's just like, all right, you had that riff. We're going to go to another one. Have fun. And it's just
right,
like, keep up.
right,
And that's a great way of doing it, and it really adds to that anticipation because you don't know what's coming next, or you get a song like you said with a lullaby or something like that, where there is that sort of, in a way, linear structure where it's just like you anticipate something, but all it is just a creepy song at the end of the day.
right.
And that's a fantastic way of doing that. And one thing I'd love to talk about is, you know, it helps when you have other people who can do very creepy things on the album. And you guys decided why not just put three people back to back to back.
Yeah,
And so obviously with Volvadina, with Wandale, Filth with Dustin, and then obviously Alex Kohler, just absolute monsters in all their own right and stuff like that. And so what was it like working with them and actually including them within the songwriting and stuff like that? And obviously, like you said, you work on the production side of things, the mixing and mastering. What was it like, you know, different vocalists, different styles and stuff? How was it, bringing that all together in these songs and kind of how was it to work with that?
definitely. Yeah, no, that's a great question. When it came to like selecting features, we wanted to, handpick people that we felt would be either meaningful to us, maybe has something to do with some of our influence, or maybe location. For instance, Dustin with Filth, Carolina Crowd Killer. We had to get somebody else from Carolina, and we love what they're doing. The song had some like hip hop influence into it, and it's something that they have really nailed, kind of combining that rap and deathcore element together. And so there was no one else we could have picked but Dustin for that. And when it comes to mixing vocals, mixing his vocals was really fun because they came in really good. The raws were insane. His voice, he's one of the most underrated deathcore vocalists there are. His high vocals are insane. It took me like an hour to be able to level out his high screams because they
That's
were
insane.
so much. And I'm like, dude, this is sick. Like that's what I'm talking about. So, doing that, and then Volvadina feature makes all the sense because we wanted somebody from the label. We love Volvo, the amazing band, the slam stuff, and Eggy Mess, the song that we got him on. It really just kind of like straight to the point, heavy, fun, and I wanted somebody that could hang, like, not that they couldn't, people can't hang with me, but what I'm saying is like they can keep put their own energy while still keeping the same intensity, and his voice is amazing for that. And then Alex Kohler. I mean, the history tells itself with him. It comes with stuff with old Chelsea Grin, His high screams are always a major influence of mine. When I'm, when it came to like, hey, I want that raw kind of unsettling scream that like when you hear it, it's, that's what the early 2000 or late 2000 deathcore really was. It was just these raw screams that didn't sound great for your voice, but like it sounded terrifying when you heard it. And that's something that I've always tried to do within my vocal safely. So having him on was super, I mean, super easy to work with. Super great guy, super nice. So we were stoked that he doesn't do a lot of features. So we were
Yeah.
super pumped that he wanted to do it. And we couldn't be happier with the way all the features came out.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely fantastic, and they all, like you said, keeping up in the sense of like providing their own energy to a sound and still being unique while also still fitting that Larcenia sound. And I thought, it's great, especially with Dustin's vocals. Like you said, the highs are just ridiculous. Yeah, no, and so those are all really fun tracks. And so, like you said, though, early on, one of the big things that you did was you literally took up mixing and mastering and all that stuff just to be able to self produce this and kind of keep it under your hands and stuff like that. And so, I would love to talk to you like in all of this with like chopping up the music, messing around with stuff, adding your own vocals, figuring stuff out. Kind of, what was your favorite moment in the entire process of creating Extraction?
Uh, Other than when we were finally done, I would say probably my favorite moment was writing Teeth.
Hmm.
Uh, that song wasn't supposed to be on the album. That was like a total
Really?
last minute thing. Like I'm like, let's do an intro now. Let's not do an intro song. And then Henry sent me like this random demo he made. It like wasn't even meant for the band really, and sent it to me. I was like, where have you been hiding this? And so within like an hour, I stitched together a song from the files he sent me and recorded some vocals on it. And like within like 2 days, I just sent him over like a finished track. And I'm like, this is what we're doing. This is going to be the first song of the album. And we're like, oh, this is cool. And the song is different. Like you can tell it does have a different vibe than the rest of the album. It has like I don't even know how to describe it. It's very non-deathcore, really. It's more like metalcore ish, which is cool because I love metalcore as well, and I would love to play with metalcore bands someday. So I want to do like this weird in between of like we can be the like heaviest, scariest band there is, but like we can play with any metalcore band as well for some weird reason. Like the Amir effect. You don't know what they are, you know. So that's something that we wanted to do. So yeah, it's probably just writing that song real quick. That was probably my favorite moment because it was so easy, unexpected, and I that's probably the song I listen to the most because it's so simple, you know.
No, that's great. And kind of like we talked about at the beginning, I'd love to just know, reflecting on Extraction, all the hard work that you guys put into it, all the different composition, the different, honestly, like all the different sort of things that you experimented with compared to what Dereliction was. With with Extraction out and kind of reflecting on that, and you look back at those songs and kind of that process, where do you think that you have like as a vocalist, as well as a producer, as well as just a band in general, where do you guys think that you have, improved the most, and what are you most proud of looking back at where you guys have come from?
Yeah, I would say probably the thing I'm most proud of is us just being able to put together uh, a song that isn't just based off of the I'm going to say it, the vocal Olympics stuff. To me, I pride myself in obviously having range and just doing what I want to do on a song. I'm not trying to compete with anyone. I don't think there's like a competition that I'm in. I think I'm just trying to write a Larcenia Roe song. So maybe I'm in a competition for myself, which sucks. But I think being able to write songs where like it's just extra salt, it's not the point of the song. And I think there's a lot of bands out there today that aren't doing that. They're just doing it for the breakdown part to put on TikTok to hopefully, go viral. We're not really trying to do that. We want to go viral. Every band wants to go viral, but we're just trying to find a way of like planting this weird thing I got going on within some heavy music. So just writing complete songs. I felt like Extraction was just a little bit more grown up, in a sense, just a little bit cleaner, a little bit also dirtier at the same time. But I don't know. It was felt bigger. It expanded more genre in general, and I don't know. I just overall production is way better, in my opinion. Like everything from the way that the snare sounds, the bass levels, just the overall width of the songs, everything around. I just feel like it's just a generally better product. But most of our fans, in a couple of years, they'll say nothing beat Dereliction, and then whatever we release after that, nothing beat Extraction. So
Uh-huh.
it's just putting our whatever our brains and our skills are at the moment. That's what we gave people, and we're happy with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And honestly, that's a great transition to my next question because, like you said, that idea of vocal Olympics. I mean, unfortunately, that is a very much a draw for a lot of bands, as having the crazy sounding screams that you can. I mean, granted, when I was doing vocals, that's also what I tried to do because it's really fun to be like, look what I can do, kind of thing. But what I love from your discussion with Carnivox Academy was that idea of using your vocals as an instrument more than like essentially the highlight in a weird way of like not prioritizing making it the crazy sounding thing, but making it the thing that sounds craziest with it. And one of the instances that I thought was cool was your weird use of the guttural sample in Carolina Crowd Killer, of just like experimenting with that where it's slightly noticeable, but if you pay attention, you're like, oh yeah, that is definitely a sampled guttural, and it's just like used to like accent and stuff like that. And so, having that approach of like using your voice as an instrument more than a, you know, like you said, treating it like added salt, added like an instrument to it. How did that approach influence the way that you went about writing your vocals and kind of mixing and mastering and doing all that kind of stuff?
Fantastic question. For me, I share this with a few other vocalists that are also probably considered in the same realm as like maybe like these next guys that are doing all these crazy things, whether it be production or vocals. And uh, the approach is to when you track vocals, like don't worry about the lyrics right away. Worry about what sounds you want to hear at certain parts. Experiment, go back, and then write the song. So maybe you sound like an absolute doofus. You're sitting there with a microphone and you're just making all these weird sounds and cadences, almost mumbling. And then you go back and then rewrite lyrics. And I feel like when you do that, you're worrying more about what is hitting the listener's ear rather than what you're just trying to say. Because I'm sorry, guys, no one really knows what the heck you're saying extreme music 90% of the time, unless you're in one of those hardcore bands. And at that point, you're just doing the same note over and over again, which is cool because I listen to a lot of hardcore. But that's what that is. This is what this is. And at the end of the day, my lyrics do have meaning to them, but I don't really care so much about that approach. I care about what you hear in your ears. I care about making a decent marketing moment, maybe. That's just my brain. So I'm highly influenced by things like rap and dubstep and how they do, stop starts in their music and how
Mhm.
they use cadence. Because when I listen to a rap song, I have no idea what the heck they're saying. Even though they're speaking somewhat clear, arguably, it's just too fast for my dumb brain. But I love the rhythm and the sound and the tone of their voice. Future is one of my favorite artists, and his tone is amazing. Nothing beats his tone. So when it comes to even the mixing portion from what you're doing rhythmically with your voice or how you're mixing it, it's all about how it is hitting the ears period. It what you say, you can write the most beautiful song ever, but if the performance or the mix isn't right, no one cares. No one will ever care. Maybe you will, and maybe that's all you need, and that's friggin' sick too. But for me, I'm trying to grow something. So it really comes down to, hey, I want somebody to go back and listen to this, or maybe they'll watch it when they're drinking with their friends and laugh because it's so insane. Either way, somebody clicked on it and listened to it, and maybe they'll come and see us play, and maybe I can share a cool experience with them. But
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love that you mentioned that of like you could put the best lyrics in the world, but if it doesn't sound cool, it doesn't really matter. Especially in this genre. Because I mean, like, I absolutely love diving into lyrics, but at the end of the day, like with y'all's music, like when I'm taking notes for like my review and stuff like that, I mean, the things that I'm focusing on are not necessarily the lyrics you're saying, but how you're saying them.
yeah,
Because, like, for example, like in Flesh and Brine, there's just this stupid tunnel high that you do, and I don't really know what you're doing, but you're doing a really cool tunnel high towards the end of the song that I don't really understand, and I'm just like, damn, that's really cool. I'm gonna talk about that. And then in Happy Fingers, I still don't. I'll have to ask you about it later because I still don't know what you're doing. There's like that weird blend of like a mid and a guttural at the same time, and I don't really know what's happening. Um,
yeah. I mean, there's the one trick of a lot of the best vocalists in the world is learning how to layer properly. I don't think I'm that good at layering, because I've seen what other producers work with layers, and I'm working with like 16 different layers of one vocal. I'm like, that's way too much, dog. Like, just give me like maybe a low and a high together, and I'll see what I can do with it. I like to keep it simple.
yeah.
Um, but the one thing that I've learned from the best of the best, the guys that everyone listens to, is how to layer. I listen to them nonstop, and I watch how they produce and how the people are mixing them, and it's pretty cool. Like, that's a whole other art form that no one really thinks about. Is when you do this guttural by itself, it sounds like this. If you do this high on top of it, or by itself, it sounds like this. But when you put them together, it sounds completely different. But can you do a sound that resembles that in one take? That's the one thing I always try to do, no matter what, is I need to be able to perform this live. And if I can't, people are going to call me out. And so that's the stuff that keeps me up at night. So if I put something out there, I'm going to do something at least 90% close to it, or I'll try. Maybe it won't be as good, and you can talk about that on Reddit or something.
Now, yeah, that's awesome, and having that approach, I really respect the simplicity because it is very easy as someone who has watched other people produce and stuff. It's very easy to get caught up in the layering because you can make some really cool stuff with layering. You can make some of the wildest sounding stuff in the world with layering, but it's also really cool when you can take something very simple and baseline and make that sound really cool and make it sound like it's multiple layers. And so that's awesome. And so, like you said, though, and I remember hearing it in the Cardivox video. I mean, you've done your research on this stuff. You know exactly how you need to approach your vocals and, what works best for you. And so, just as like a general question, I mean, looking at all your different styles, all your different techniques, who would you consider your biggest influences as a vocalist?
Um, ooh, that's a good question. I would say when it came to like just the idea of using cadence, Phil Bozeman was the one who like historically always mentioned like rap cadence is the go-to. And probably him, when it comes to like trying to sound like I'm that's something I can't do to this day, really, to the extent that I want to, but sounding absolutely unhinged, be Darius from Spite. His vocals are just his energy. When it comes to like live shows, like if I could be a quarter of the performer that he is, then I'll be successful, because that dude is something else. Huge fan. And then when it comes to like basic, like just the foundation of where my voice comes from, it's Randy Blythe, from Lamb of God. I mean, there's no one that has influenced my voice more. No one's the amount of times before I even got into performing screams in bands, I was driving to the gym late at night after I finished my day, 3 scoops of pre-workout, and I'm blaring Omerta over my Saab speakers and just absolutely blowing the speakers out. And I'm sitting there using my voice, and those are the years that I've learned how to scream for sure. So,
Now that's great. I mean, absolutely love a good pre-workout followed by scream. Always works. And so, I think the other thing though that I've always like I could tell through the music is that you just kind of have fun with the vocals. Like there's just like you said, it's not you're not there to necessarily show off your range and make this vocal Olympic thing happen, but you are having fun with it. And I mean, you're just kind of letting loose with whatever comes to mind. And like you said, that approach of putting what fits there, what you want people to hear at that moment. And so, I mean, over time, how have you learned to like be able to just let loose and have fun with your vocals and let those be something that guides the music rather than trying to force them into the music?
yeah, I'm highly influenced, especially this album, highly influenced by just slam in general. Um, the slam music's my favorite because it's kind of comical in a sense because they do
Yes.
like this whether it's inhale, exhale. I'm trying to learn how to inhale right now. That's been like something I've been really learning how to do over the past few months. So there's no like straight inhales on extraction, unfortunately, and I wish there was because now I can kind of do some. There's some, like breathing things that are inhale, but uh, just their ability to just put whatever the heck they want out there, and it sounds so cool. Like it sounds so cool. And when I start listening to that stuff, I'm just like, you know what? Like, at the end of the day, like I think I could put anything on a track as long as it sounds cool. And when it comes to like the lyrics, that's why slam is my favorite because these dudes doing all these, inhale gutturals and stuff, and then they have like this beautiful poetic, lyric sheet. I'm just like, dude, you're not saying a single single word on there, And so to me, like that's the type of fun stuff that I think like deathcore should be. At times, then you can have your emotional side, you can have your whatever side. I'm fortunate enough to be in 2 different styles of bands. I'm in Larcenia Roe, and then I'm also in Synestia. And with that, those are 2 polar opposites, but both extreme. And
Yeah.
so one side I have to be a little bit more kind of like serious, like I gotta focus. It's a lot. Synestia is a beast.
Oh yeah.
I love what we're doing, and I love the shoes I have to fill for some of those songs that I'm learning. And but when it comes to Larcenia, I can kind of just do whatever the heck I want. And at the end of the day, finding any place where you can have freedom of expression or creativity, you can do whatever you want, is rare these days. So that's what Larcenia is. It's Henry and I. We just put our weird brains together. We have some fun. You listen to Sickly Sweet, and I'm inspired by Patrick from SpongeBob. Like that's half my inspiration on that song. So it's like at the end of the day, like I want people to mosh. I want people to shake their booties. I want people to, you know, hate my music as well. I want people to love my music. I want people just to see my music and react to it in some way and acknowledge it. And to me, it's like, oh, well, I was able to touch somebody in a non-weird way. Um, um, but yeah, it's just cool to be able to interact, reach so many people across the world, and it's always fun.
Yeah. And no, that's great. And like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all fun and just, getting people to have fun with it. I love that. And so kind of just like to kind of close it out, obviously, just recently you guys announced the tour with Oceano, the farewell tour in Texas, and kind of you have a bunch of different one-off shows that have been taking place. But like, what's next for Larcenia Row? Like, are there any tours on the horizon? Kind of what are your next steps?
Yeah, so Touring is a big thing. It's a big discussion. It's been the discussion on can we open up to do more touring because if you looked at my DMs, it's all it is. Hey, when you come, you coming there? When you coming there? Anytime you post something, when are you coming here? When are you coming there? We really want to push that. That's going to be the goal for the following kind of 24 months is to like let's establish ourselves as a band that can tour. We do want to be somewhat selective because we do all have jobs, we have families, we have mortgage payments, we have those types of things. So we are blessed with the support that we get now, and our fans buying our merch or streaming our stuff. Like it's paid for us to be able to play the shows that we have done so far, upgrade our equipment. It really does make a difference when somebody shares something. I don't think people realize that. It's like that's why I always say like I'm fine with some haters because like if you comment on it, like thank you, dude. Like you're helping. Like whatever you got to do, like whatever can make my passion become a means of income. I'm super game for whatever route it takes. Yeah, touring. We're gonna probably release some more music videos as well. We're gonna try to maybe do some collaborations. We have some stuff in the works I can't talk about, but you know, given the Oceano tour, we're super excited for that. But we still have a whole part of the country we haven't visited yet. So that will be kind of the next checklist. So we'll be there soon, and then also outside of the country. But again, we'll discuss those things later.
Absolutely. Well, man, thank you so much for doing this with me today. I appreciate it. Guys, if you have not checked out Larcenia Roe yet, please go check out Extraction. Go check out Dereliction. Give them support. If you hate it, let them know because it drives it up anyway, like he said. Go have fun with it. And yeah, once again, Ryan, thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
All right, appreciate it. Hey, see you guys in the next one.